His legal background also was invaluable and helped steer us through the appeal process. Throughout the inquiry, he has spent long hours working with our barrister. He will oversee the next steps as we go forward. So please welcome to the stage, Stephen Clarke.
Thank you so much. Great to see you all here. Deja vu, absolutely deja vu. How many times have we done this? The first thing to say is last night I crafted a wonderful speech, and today I've forgotten my glasses. So anyway, I mean, I've been looking at I suppose the political and legal aspects of this campaign, and I've read the decision, 108 pages, and it's truly awful. 10 Downing Street, we know, have ignored the health rules they imposed on others. They've shown there's a moral vacuum at the heart of government. They said they were going to do one thing when they're actually doing the exact opposite. We can see that exact same playbook when we look at this decision. It's exactly the same thing. All the policies that were in place, they've largely ignored. Recently we've had quite a raft of policies around aviation. They all sound great. The Sustainable Aviation Fuel Mandate, sounds good. Jet Zero Strategy, Net Zero Aviation, Net Zero Strategy, COP26 Glasgow Climate Pact, UK Environment Bill. Not one of those mentions regional airport growth. Not one of them talks about aviation. How can that be? What's going on in the corridors of power at Westminster? Who's got the government's ear? Well, it's not the climate change group, the committee, the government's own advisory group. The government are basically ignoring their own advisory group now. The CCC stated strongly, quotes, there must be no net expansion of UK airports. The government are completely ignoring this. We can only presume, and I think this is right, having sat through the inquiry, that aviation lobbyists have now infiltrated the highest corridors of power, and they're no longer lobbying, they're actually making the decisions. This is so dangerous. Our Prime Minister told us only a few months ago at COP26 that we were 1 minute to midnight, and yet they're still allowing airport expansion, despite the clear danger the climate and ecological emergency represents to us and our loved ones. I sat in the inquiry for 3 months, pretty much, not every day, most days, and I witnessed firsthand how the airport's experts were allowed to spout their half-truths and their lies, and how the inspectors nodded along and accepted what they said. The planning inspectors themselves, of course, are supposed to be independent, but in this case, they've proved themselves to be complete stooges to the aviation industry. It's absolutely... They have agreed, it's all about money, as somebody said over here, that's right. They agreed with every argument the airport made in the inquiry. In fact, this decision, reads like it was written by the airport. It's absolutely crazy. On every single issue, despite apparently listening to our experts, telling them what was happening, our carefully argued independent experts, the inspectors completely ignored them. I'm just going to go through just a few examples in this decision, some of which will make your hair curl. Health, okay? So the inquiry heard numerous health professionals, including Patrick, giving passionate evidence about the terrible mental impacts of noise and the lack of sleep, plus pollution and other impacts. What do you think, after listening to all this, that the inspectors decided? They concluded if the expansion went ahead, there would be an overall helpful impact on health. No, I'm not making this up. This is page 80. This is all true. Climate change. What do they say about climate change? The conclusion of the inspectors on climate change are truly ridiculous. They've written, after considering a week's evidence on climate change, that climate change issue must be regarded as neutral in their decision. I mean, what's happened? Have I gone down a rabbit hole? Where do these people come from? What about traffic impact? Hilary was talking about traffic impact earlier. The inspectors concluded that 10,000 extra car journeys a day in the roads around the airport, quote, would not give rise to any severe impacts on the road network. Yeah, it is a joke, isn't it? What do they say about noise? What do you think they say about the 20,000 extra planes that are going to be flying in as a result of this expansion? What they say, the noise issue, quote, is negligible and thus not significant, end quote. What about air quality? I mean, everybody admitted at the inquiry that if this expansion goes ahead, the WHO air quality guidelines would be breached. Particulates would be a particular problem. The inspectors saw no problem with that. They stated there would be no unacceptable effects on air quality from the proposed development. Greenbelt, sure, I mean, there's going to be, the airport want to build a multi-storey car park on the Greenbelt, but surely the inspectors wanted to protect our Greenbelt. Well, no, actually, the inspectors concluded that the extra parking capacity would, quote, clearly outweigh the harm to the Greenbelt. Well, what do we think about that? Do we think it clearly outweighs the harm? No, it doesn't. Jobs and economic growth, I mean, I can go on, it's ridiculous. Our experts proved that the airport's reports and numbers were completely exaggerated, just that they have been in all the other airport applications that are going ahead, and the 20 odd that has come after this. The inspectors completely ignored the evidence and happily quoted, without qualms, the airport's own figures for jobs. So there you have it. This decision completely ignores what local people think. It ignores the objections of all the local councils, ignores the local MP, it ignores the Metro Mayor. It's disastrous for local residents and the climate. It's disastrous for local residents in the climate and ecological emergency. It's even embarrassing. Consider, we still hold the presidency of COP26 until the end of this year. I mean, it's actually embarrassing. What does the government say? New oil fields, expanded airports, new deep coal mines, no problem. That's what our government is saying, no problem. How can that possibly be? As I said, I've been investigating the legal aspects of this, and we're currently considering in detail the legal position. There is a possibility of a claim in the High Court to quash this decision, and this week actually we'll be taking detailed legal advice about that. Our group, Bristol Airport Action Network, will continue to resist this insane project in any way we can. And later on, one of our speakers, Jackie Head, is going to talk about some practical ways you can help us to do that. But together, I believe we can still stop this project. We can stop it in its tracks. And you know, I'm actually really angry. And do you know what I think about this decision? That's what I think about that decision. Thank you all so much. Thank you.